Social Security experts are beginning to forecast what type of increase people will see in their Social Security benefits next year, 2023. The amount is going to shock you. I've got that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. All right, so we've been dealing with inflation. If you're on Social Security or you're on that fixed income, as people like to say in retirement, what sort of increase should you expect next year if inflation stays this high? Well, people are starting to forecast, and it is a big number. But let's look back before we look forward. And this year, if you were on Social Security, you got the largest increase in your Social Security in 40 years, nearly 40 years. Yeah, that's right. 2021 saw an increase of 5.9%, an increase in your Social Security by that much. That's staggering. Obviously, if you look at the previous years that were 1.3, 1.6, 2.82, even 2015 when it was zero, guys, like go back through history. We saw a 5.8% increase going into 2008, and my goodness, thank goodness, right? Because of the economic meltdown that people were facing back then. But we haven't seen an increase near this level since we saw inflation near this level, okay? So now, with inflation still roaring, and the news coming out a couple weeks ago about what inflation did year to date or year over year through June, soaring over 9%. What should you expect? What are people expecting Social Security will increase by next year? Well, guys, get this. Retirees could see a double-digit increase in their Social Security next year. 10.5, 11% increase in your Social Security next year is what some are forecasting, some that are very, very in tune to these sorts of projections. That would be the largest increase, yes, again, since we've seen inflation at these levels 40 years ago. Even if inflation starts to slow down, which I'm hopeful. Lots of people have been predicting the peak. They've been wrong thus far. Gosh, we're seeing core commodity prices starting to come back down. I'm hoping inflation starts coming back down. But even if that happens, many of these forecasters are still saying Social Security should increase by at least 9% next year. Now, here's the problem, right? If you're on Social Security, you've been dealing with this 9.5% increase in costs of living over this year on just a 5.9% increase in your Social Security. This is how it works. The cost of living adjustment that you get, this COLA to Social Security, it's always after the fact. It's reactionary, okay? So you're having to stomach these higher prices, just like we all are, on these, on our current levels of income. And then next year, if this plays out, you'll see a big increase in your Social Security, and hopefully inflation's on its way down, and that will be a welcome increase. All right, now how could this impact you? Well, number one, if you're already on Social Security, this would impact you. You would see your Social Security next year increase by this, 10.5, 11.5, or 9%, or whatever it turns out to be. You would just see that automatic increase. You would receive some sort of letter, typically middle of November. You'd probably get the news right here on the Wise Money Show channel, probably in September, get a letter in November, early December saying this is what your payment will be, and it will automatically increase in January. If you're already on Social Security, fantastic. If you're not going to be on Social Security for a long time, it's not going to impact you. Your Social Security is based on 35 years of earnings history, and if you're still a long way off from Social Security, they don't just automatically increase your benefit, your projected benefit based on inflation. They're assuming that your wages will be adjusted and so on to keep up with inflation as well. And because your Social Security is based on 35 years of wages, they don't automatically just apply some sort of cost of living adjustment if you're still a long way off from Social Security. But here's the big question, the third camp. What if you're about to draw Social Security? What if you're close? What if you've been pondering drawing Social Security and now you hear about this increase and you don't want to miss out? Should you jump on Social Security because they're projecting a really big increase? Well, here's how it works. As long as you're turning 62 that year, even if you're not collecting Social Security, you're going to see this increase, this cost of living increase to your benefit projection, okay? As long as you're turning 62, even if you're not on Social Security, you will see this increase. And I think that's fair. I would even argue, well, even if you're 60 or 59, that would be fair to add it, but that they had to draw the line somewhere. And that's because, listen, you don't have enough earnings history, enough earnings years left to make a big enough impact, and you're this close that if there is a big increase like we're projecting in a cost of living adjustment for Social Security, it really wouldn't make any significant impact on you if you're right on the cusp of drawing Social Security. So thankfully, they have the rules set up that as long as you're turning age 62 next year, this is automatically going to be reflected in your benefits history. So you don't need to, it might be a reason why you say, no, let me turn this income on. It just grew by, 10%, 11%, whatever it turns out to be. But it doesn't mean that you've got to go out there and start your payment in order to take advantage of this increase. You should be able to take advantage of it either way. All right, so that's good news. Obviously, painful news. Inflation is this universal tax that we all have to pay, and it is painful. We know it's painful. We haven't really felt it in 40 years, and it hurts. Thankfully, it looks like Social Security beneficiaries will be receiving an increase, significant increase next year. But how does Social Security fit into your financial plan, number one? What's your strategy for drawing Social Security? Do you have an optimization strategy? That's one. And two, how is inflation? How should that adjust your financial plan? Those are questions you've got to work with your certified financial planner on. Contact your CFP. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with a K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.